Hey, checking in for week 3, episode 4 of A Culture Conversation. I am your host, Mr. Twin GQ of TGQ Inc. We're here on our platform with a special guest, none other than Scarborough's own Daniel Mullings.
Thank you, good sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on our platform for this amazing conversation, man. So before we get into our talk, every time we give our guests an opportunity to share who they are, a little bit of what they do in their industry, and then we get into some talk, man. So, I'll leave the mic for you to introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you again for having me. Daniel Mullings from Scarborough. Professional basketball player. I think this is my 6th year out. It's been a crazy journey, a lot of ups and downs, but thankful for it all. A lot of lessons that I've learned and able to turn it into a lot of negatives into positives. You know how it is growing up in Scarborough, and it's just tough just growing up. Everybody, especially when we were younger, everybody's playing basketball. It's literally a battlefield every day. That you wake up, whether it's going to school, you play outside of school, rec, the Y, it's just a battle. And, building tough guys, tough mentalities and basketball players, I think is we can thank our environment for that.
Absolutely. Myself being a Scarborough native, man, I can relate to that. And, we're just going to talk a little bit about your upbringing, man. Obviously, growing up in one of the toughest inner cities, as mentioned, Scarborough, how were you able to, turn to sports at an early age? Obviously, you have 2 brothers as well. So just tell me a little bit about your childhood and obviously growing up in the inner city, man. How is sports something that, caught your attention from early on?
Well, sports caught my attention. My family, we're an athletic family to begin with. My mom and my father, they didn't play basketball, but, ran track, played soccer, things like that. So the athletics was in the family. And I think I kind of got onto it, from my cousin. She was a little older than me. And she played ball like in the West. And we used to go out there in the summertime. We spent a lot of summertimes in the West. And I seen her love and her passion for basketball. She really loved Allen Iverson as well. So I seen that love and that passion, and it helped me fall in love with the game as well. And then just as being young and just being around outside school, and you see everybody playing basketball and doing all kinds of sports. But I think basketball, it just chose me, and I fell in love with it, and I've been running with it since.
Dope, man, dope. And it's crazy because I feel like, back in the late 2000s and even in the early 2000s, if you lived in Scarborough, basketball is like the first thing you turn to, and it's crazy now because, a lot of these kids are inside and they play a lot of games and Fortnite and stuff like that. But, man, we used to just hoop every day, all day.
Yeah, like you said, it's crazy that the kids nowadays are just inside. You got the iPads and the tablets that's consuming all their time, effort, and energy. Whereas growing up in our younger days, it was all about being outside. As soon as you can be outside, we was outside. Like after school, you barely can drop your bag down before you right back out the door.
Yeah.
And you're linking up with your friends and your brothers and things like that. So it's just a different climate and time. And I can tell you one thing, I'm thankful for growing up the way we did, because
Absolutely.
I felt like it helped build character within us, and it just showed us how much we just loved the game of basketball. You know what I mean? I felt like basketball just brought it's a big brotherhood, and it brought a lot of us together, being no matter where you're from, what side of the city you're from, that we all have that one thing that's in common, and that's that love for basketball, which helped us.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's like a secret fraternity. I think when we're growing up, there's guys like you that might be, a couple of years older that we looked up to as like the savior. Obviously when we're in high school, we're looking, at the older guys that really paved the way for us, but also that we aspire to be, so having a guy like you in our community that we could kind of look up to and be like, damn, like it's possible, seeing you transcend the culture of the sport in our city and going out to do incredible things at the Division I level, man, really, showed us, growing up that there was hope outside of our environment, So obviously growing up in Scarborough, there's a lot of, negativity that's, surrounding the kids, right? So if I was to ask you, how you were able to navigate through that world of, drugs and violence and stuff to find your path and honing on your skills, how would you say you did that?
I would say for me personally, and for a couple of people around me, things like that, it was, for me, a big thing is just kind of understanding and knowing yourself. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, you can get caught up in the wrong things, like real fast, hanging around the wrong people or being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, you don't even have to do anything, but it's just by association. Sometimes you're just hanging out, because you can't even fault anybody, because we all have friends that might not play ball, as serious as us, but they're still our friends, and we still are brothers, and we still love them. So at any time possible, we want to hang out with them, you know what I mean, and share that love with them and just spend time. But there's a time and place for everything, and you can't get caught up in certain spots where you're not ready for, you know what I mean? And I think that was just like that was a big thing, like my mom kind of instilled in all of us, and I kind of recognized it earlier. Basketball, it took a lot of my energy and my focus anyways, and that's what I was kind of like hooked on. So more so, anywhere there was basketball, I was around, you know what I mean? And I kind of knew who I was, and knew I didn't want to be involved in certain things, so I just tried to get away from that, or take myself out of that, not even put myself in a position like that, and of course, things happen, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's out of our control and all of that. But as long as you try as hard as you can to just, keep your head straight and to lock in and focus, then, that's the best thing I think you could do.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's crazy because when you're growing up, you don't know right from wrong in terms of your surrounding and your influence. You might be with somebody that's totally, has bad energy, or they're not on the type of time that you're on,
right.
But at the end of the day, they're your friend. So
right, and sometimes you don't understand, like, you know what I mean? We're kind of blinded by it, because you kind of grew up with a certain person, you know what I mean? And as we get older, certain people go down different avenues, because you start to gain interest in different paths and things like that. But so sometimes hanging around a person, due to his experiences or things like that, it might take you down a bad path, you know what I mean, or a different path that you're not ready for, you can't handle, whereas he's already been through that and he's kind of used to it, and so he's able to kind of live through and continue on. But like I said, it's kind of just being able to decipher the two different worlds, right? Yeah,
absolutely. So obviously going into your high school experience now, when you're at Laurier High School, tell me a little bit about that high school choice and your time there, obviously going there and doing incredible things, really putting that program on the map. So just kind of talk to me a little bit about that experience.
It was crazy. It wasn't even my choice to go there.
Damn.
Like I didn't, I wanted to go there, but my mom wanted me to go to West Hill, because at that time, like, Laurier I didn't know what was going on in Laurier. I didn't know no basketball players over there, right? And all you see is West Hill, you see Jay Sharp, you know what I'm saying, Denim, you see everybody going, everything that's going on. And so she wanted me to go there, right? And she wouldn't let me sign up on the day of. Like, she was like, you're not going there, because the issue is when you're submitting where you want to go to high school, they said I was one street off from West Hill being my home school. So basically, if I was on this side and if I was on the other side, West Hill would be my home school. But because I was literally 2 steps away on the other side, they said it's not your home school. So they made it difficult, and they didn't want me to go there. So she tried everything she could, walked me up at West Hill, tried to let me talk to all kinds of athletic directors and people over there, and they just made it tough and weren't having it. So it was literally that last day of registration for school, and I had no choice but to go register for Laurier in the end. And it was kind of cool for me. Like, I wasn't tripping, because all my friends that I grew up with in elementary school were going to Laurier, right? And at that time, she was thinking about basketball and opportunities for me in basketball, right? Because the West Hill is such a powerhouse. But for me, I'm looking at, man, I don't know them people over there. I want to hang out with my friends and enjoy the time with those guys. And then, so finally found myself over there. And the beginning was tough as well for me because, like, I was really short. Like, I was probably like 5'4", no more than that.
Yeah.
In the 9th grade. And so made the team, but didn't at the beginning, didn't play as much, even though I should have. Didn't play as much, and then as the year went on, played more things happened, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Played more, and then showed some upside. So then, and that team was like 9th and 10th grade together.
Okay.
So I was kind of excited for the following year because I knew it was just all 10th grade, right? It was all of us just in 10th grade. So it was going to be easy. I'd be like, all right, now I'm comfortable with this team, with this set of guys, and we'll be all right to go forward. And I think that's what kind of helped me go and start up like my actual like basketball, making noise. You know what I mean? That 10th, I had a good year that year. We made some noise, but we still didn't beat West Hill. And that was a lot of talk. Is we didn't beat West Hill for like the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so that was like the big monkey.
So
on the
that
back.
was the big monkey on the back. Like every year, no matter what, 10th grade, we play everybody. Second, lose to West Hill, right? Then following year, 11th, same thing, lose to West Hill. It was just like we just couldn't get the monkey off our back. But then I felt like my senior year, 12th grade, and that's when I was kind of arrived, and it was like, I'm here.
Nice.
Like, this is my team. I got a whole bunch of great role players around me, guys that are committed to their roles, and we finally got over that hump, and we beat West Hill that year. And they had a fake big three that year too, but we beat them.
Yeah.
And then from there on, we beat them the following year too. So we finally got that monkey off the back, and I feel like that helped, bring my name, make my name bigger, and kind of ring bells more around the city where everybody's kind of interested. Like, who's this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we see him a little bit, but what's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's when that's when Daniel became Daniel Mullings, and that was a turning point to your career.
Right. That's when, you know what I mean? That's when I kind of got my name. That's when Mullings started ringing around, and then, invitations to all-star games, like the All-Canada Classic.
Yeah.
That's where it sprung about. And I feel like that all-star game too really catapulted me to the next level.
Yeah, and you have the whole marketing thing of, the posters and stuff like that.
Right.
So that really helped get your name out as well. So you're in your last year of high school now, going into college now, obviously you had dreams of, playing Division I and aspiring to have a great career, but how did the whole recruiting process going of, you choosing New Mexico State University as your college choice?
That was like a crazy process as well because, I didn't have a lot of offers coming out of, if any at all. I didn't have a lot of coming out of high school. I didn't qualify right away. And so at first, I was going to go like the JUCO route, right? I was going to go there, and then I had a couple options between like a JUCO in Texas and then one in Florida, like Tallahassee.
Okay, TTC?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple guys went there, like Marvell,
Jamal too.
Coombs, Jamal.
Yeah.
So there was a good amount of guys that went there. So, man, I remember I was talking to the coach at Tallahassee, and I was telling him, I didn't talk to my mom, but I was telling him like, yeah, man, I'm coming. I talked to Marvell, talked to Jamal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm coming. Yeah. And then we had a coach from New Mexico State, the associate head coach, Paul Weir.
Okay.
So he, I think he was actually at the All-Star game, possibly. I think he was there. And then that's when I first met him, and then he brought the whole New Mexico State University pitch to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the whole thing with that was everything was sweet until I heard you got to sit out a year. And then, as a kid growing up, you don't want to hear that you have to sit out a year of basketball, of competing. Yeah. Like, that's what we live for, is competing, right?
Absolutely.
So from when I heard that, I said no. I'm like, nah, it's not happening. But he got in contact with my mom, and then if you know my mom, she's a really like she's a lot to handle, strong lady. So I guess he gave her the rundown of the two options, and it was because if you go to JUCO, you get, after you finish the 2 years, you have 2 years of eligibility in D1.
Yeah.
Instead of, if I sit out a year, then I have 4 years of eligibility, right? So which one, right?
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh no, he's gonna come to New Mexico. Don't worry about it, he's coming. So she made the decision for me, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and well, looking back at it now, I'm glad she did.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm super thankful for it. It opened a lot of opportunities and a lot of doors for me.
Yeah.
And played with a lot of great dudes, and made a lot of brothers coming out of there, and it was an amazing experience for me.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about how everything changed. Obviously everything happens for a reason, but let's say you didn't go to New Mexico and you ended up going to the JUCO. Do you think your career would have panned out the same way?
I don't know. I feel like I still would have found a way to be successful, and just with the motivation and hunger that I had, just and the love for the game, I felt like I would have figured it out at some point to be successful, and knowing that I had 2 years to prove, my worth and how good I was to make it to a Division I. You know what I mean? That's a added hunger on top of it, to shorter window to prove yourself, right? So I felt like still I would have been motivated and hungry, but you never know. Each journey is different, and you never know what may have happened on that path. You know what I'm saying? So that's a what if, and we'll never know. But I'm thankful for this path that I went down.
Yeah, it was crazy because, I obviously, used to follow college basketball, as I still do. And, that time you were at New Mexico, you had, was it 4 or 5 Canadians there with you at that time?
Yeah, every year that I was there, we had at least 4 or 5 Canadians there.
Yeah. So Paul Weir, he loved the Canadians then.
Yeah, he showed love and represented, and I felt like it was amazing for all of us. Like for him, great opportunity for him, for us. I felt like we really changed the culture there as well.
Absolutely.
However we were in Toronto, we brought that same, that same flavor, our same slang, everything, and we incorporated it to where we were with our brothers, and it was just made everything amazing.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you see a lot of colleges now, and if you look at a powerhouse like Kentucky or Duke, it seems like they have their own subculture out there. So it's very important that you never really compromise or change yourself regardless of where you play. So it's amazing to hear that you guys kind of kept your same roots and what made you guys who you were, which was unique.
Yeah, and I think when it's tough when you go somewhere and you're like the only person from that place. Like if you were to go to a different school and it was just me or something like that, it would be very hard to. Now you got to find your niche now and who you kind of gel with a little bit more. And while you're doing that, you can get lost in the shuffle a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just who you're around and the people that you associate yourself with, right?
Absolutely.
And you're just trying to fit in at a point like, this is my teammates now. These are the guys I'm going to be around. So you kind of like conform to some of the things that they do and things like that. But
absolutely.
With us, there was so much of us, right? That, and so there was a couple of us like from like Toronto as well. So it was very easy for us to make the transition. You know what I mean?
Because you're going through it together.
We all went through it together. We're all going through this grind together. The ups and downs, the being away from your family. You know what I mean? And not being able, and you're missing so much things. So we're together and we're making the best of the experience. And I feel like that helped us like tremendously.
Nice. So, you're in college. Your career's taking off. You made the NCAA tournament. Was it twice or
every year?
Every year. Okay. So so you're having an incredible season over there. You're defensive player of the year. You make the tournament. When did the idea or the thought click in your mind that you had a chance to entertain the NBA?
I felt like I had a chance or like to entertain that thought after my junior year. I felt like I won like the player of the WAC player of the year, and I don't know. I think it was the defensive. I don't know if it was the same year, but I remember I won defensive player of the year, and I just felt like I was playing at an amazing level. Like that past summer, I had my first experiences with like Team Canada.
Nice.
And just being in that camp and around like all those guys and those coaches and things like that, I felt like it helped me like mentally and physically, you know what I mean? Just being around high talent and everything that they're doing to prepare us, like, you know, for our bodies and preparing us for the games and recovery and that kind of stuff. I felt like that was something that I didn't really take serious before. I didn't really know until I got there, and they kind of taught you how to take care of your body a little bit more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it ended up being like my best season as far as like all around the board. You know what I mean? Like my numbers scoring wise and everything just bumped up from the past year before. And I had a different kind of swag and a different kind of confidence. I felt like, you know, just coming from there, like if I can play with these guys and still do my thing and people could still see that like I belong. The big thing was going there was a process, and I felt like I was like one of the last people invited. Yeah. But you know, Jay Triano's seen something in me, and once I've seen that, like somebody actually like believes in me and sees that I got something to offer, then that gave me the confidence as well. You know what I mean? And I feel like just I learned so much from him, and he gave me so much confidence, and I'm like, man, if he can say he feels like I'm one of the best guys here, and he has this confidence in me, then wherever I go, I can. This is nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like you go back. I went back with that confidence, and is that confidence I used to help for the rest of the team too. You know what I mean? Not only for me just looking down at everybody, but I feel like I brought that confidence and gave that swag to help the team as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think we had a great year that year too. Yeah. So
dope, man. So, you know, Jay Triano, for those of you that don't know, he was a former coach of the Toronto Raptors, senior men's national coach. So, yeah, you had an experience with Team Canada with the Pan Am Games back in 2015. So talk to us a little bit about that experience playing alongside NBA players such as Tristan Thompson and Kelly Olynk and Corey Joseph as well.
No, don't forget Jamal Murray. Oh, yo, I got a crazy story with that one. Jamal Murray. Yo, I have a crazy story with that one. Like, so we go into the camp, right? And he's like 17. It's right before he was going to Kentucky, I think. And you got like, they have Steve Nash and everything there. And I think that's when they're really trying to develop him into a one, like before he's going to Kentucky, so, right? So they were molding him and just getting him into that mindset of being a one. And I remember just watching it up close and personal, because I'd never seen him before that, right? He's younger, never seen him before that. And then I'll just never forget when we played, I don't know if it was like in the semifinals or finals, I think it was. And I don't even remember who we were playing. We were just playing. We were playing grown-ass men, right? Yeah, we were playing men, and he's 17. And I remember it was like me. I think Junior was on the bench. Melvin, we were like on the bench, just watching. And I remember like just having a towel on your knees, just getting your knees ready, right? Getting warm. Yeah. But just watching him do that, and he was just the same way how he's playing right now. He was doing the same thing. Yeah. Same thing, same confidence, pulling up, tray ball, crossover, cross, sidestep, same thing. I'm watching this, and we're just looking at each other every time like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, he's special. And I never forget that. I remember I was telling my friends and just family, like, yo, he's special, man. Like, you know, that was one of those times where you look at me, you're like, you want to go in? I'm like, nah. I'm watching him do his thing. Like, this is amazing to see. So, like, seeing all of this now that he's doing, like, it's amazing. But it's like I'm not even surprised, because I was seeing him do this before. You know what I mean? Now he's just doing it at a higher level. Like, you're just seeing him mature and develop even more. And he's just polishing his skills, and it's amazing to see and to watch. So that was my great Pan Am experience alongside winning silver medal as well. Yeah, you know
absolutely. And, you know, Jamal, his career took off from that day or even before, but went to Kentucky, had a great a great campaign there, and now he's playing in the Western Conference Finals. So turning to the NBA talk, man, who is your contender for the NBA title right now?
Well, obviously the Lakers, but I like what the Denver Nuggets they've been doing this whole playoffs. I like the fact that they're all confident in themselves and are not afraid of that moment or are not afraid to go up against Kawhi or PG or now LeBron. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you have some guys on teams that no matter whoever they're playing, they want to give it up to the other guys before the series even starts, bro. It's like, yeah, of course, you respect them, but like you're at the end of the day, you're trying to get that championship as well. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
When I watched their Jamal and Jokic's interview after they won against the Clippers, and they asked him a question about like seeing LeBron, and then I just remember like Jamal and them was just like, well, they got to play out, they got to see us too, like they got to play us and defend us too. And I was like, yo, I like that. That mentality is what I like. You know what I mean? And they're not afraid of that moment, and they feel that they're as good, if not better, which you should, if that's the mentality you need to have if you want to win a championship, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, like, I like them, and it's just the storylines for LeBron winning a championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really like watching Miami.
Yes, sir.
Because they're just I like, you know what I'm saying, the way how we grew up is like we're dogs. You know what I mean? Nothing was given to us. We're dogs. Anywhere we go, we're scrappy. We play hard all the time. You know what I mean? I feel like Miami, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all those guys go out, go hard and compete. Both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
I like that. They both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? Not just one side. They all compete, and even if they're not a great defenders, they still try. You know what I mean? It's about trying and the effort.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like on both sides, man, we're seeing great basketball. You know, I feel like the skill that we see from, you know, not only Jamal Murray but Jokic as well. And then on the next side, you know, we got LeBron and AD, which, you know, they're causing a tandem right there. But I love, you know, obviously I was gunning for Milwaukee. They actually didn't get the job done. But Miami's a strong candidate. You know, they have hungry guys that are, you know, going to do the job, and, you know, they have a great coach that runs a really nice system. So it's going to be interesting to see them get, you know, if they can get to past Boston into the finals.
Yeah, I was really gunning for the Raps though to make another run. I called that from like the beginning. I was just like, man, I honestly thought that they had another run in them.
Yeah.
You know, without Kawhi, I felt like they had another run with them to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and the finals. You know what I mean? And I just felt like I was confident with whoever they would play in the West, even against the Lakers. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the Raptors match up well with all the top prominent teams in the league. So that's like a really good advantage. And then, you know, they throw different things at you from a defensive standpoint, whether it's a box and one like they did on Steph Curry back in the 2019 NBA Finals, or, you know, they go into a zone. So Nick Nurse always tries to keep the, you know, opposing team on their toes, which is, you know, an advantage that the Raptors, you know, share.
Right.
So, man, it's crazy to see, you know, the NBA during, obviously, the global pandemic, but, you know, there's another pandemic that arised, you know, the Black Lives Matter campaign and movement. So, you know, obviously, you know, you're a family guy right now, and you're raising a beautiful daughter. So I would love to, you know, for you to kind of share that experience of parenting in a climate as delicate as this.
Yeah, like especially during a time like this, you know, when you're growing up and our parents are telling us, you know, about some of these things, and we're going through our own experiences, and they're just when our parents are trying to warn us about certain things, and when we're, especially as being, you know, young black men going outside, us playing basketball and just being on the street, you have to watch your back, not only from other people, but, you know, from authorities such as police officers and things like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just crazy to me that when you step outside or you go into a car, your mom has to tell you, make sure you're not riding in the car with your hood on, or you don't have a do-rag on. Like, why is it only for us? Like, we have to worry about that. Like, we're not doing anything, but why do we feel like we have to change our appearance for somebody else just so we don't get bothered, possibly? You know what I mean? And it's just like dealing with some of those frustrations, that it's crazy to me that it's still going on. And now me being a father and seeing some of history repeats itself is actually pretty scary, you know, just to be raising a child in this climate period. And, you know, my daughter's still pretty small, she's 2, but it's still certain things that, you know, as parents you worry about, you know what I mean, that she doesn't run into, you know, people picking on her or, you know, bullying her for the color of her skin, you know what I mean, or like texture of her hair or something like that. And so I would say it's frustrating, but it's something that, you know, I keep in mind that each and every year she gets old, no matter how young she is, you try to instill, you know, just that confidence in her, and that, you know, to teach her and them that their skin is beautiful, hair is beautiful, they're beautiful, period. And, you know, that we shouldn't have to conceal ourselves for anybody. You know what I mean? So
and I think that's important. You know, knowledge of self, like you spoke about earlier on in your childhood and, you know, your respective background, but also now, you know, you kind of having a daughter and instilling that that self-confidence, and, you know, so she sees that self-worth in herself,
right,
you know, so she can go outside and feel unique in her own skin. You know,
right.
I think that's very important for parents across different, you know, ethnic groups, whether it's Black, white, Asian, you know, so that's pretty big. So, you know, obviously when you're playing basketball professionally, man, how does that, you know, take a toll on you when you're obviously away from your daughter?
Yeah, that takes a you know, a big toll on you, especially, you know, at first just being away from family, period, and especially continue on with like the Black Lives Matter and like the racism part of the thing. Is when you go over there, it's a different world as well, right? You might go to a certain, like a specific spot that, you know, there's not a lot of people that look like us, right? And for the people that do, it's like, well, they know we all play basketball, right? So it's either it could be up or down. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, they play basketball, so, you know, you get treated differently regardless, whether it's in a good way or a bad way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You might get treated, oh, he's good, he's a great athlete. Here you go. Thank you for being here, blah, blah, blah. Or you can get, oh, he's a basketball player. He thinks he knows it all. He thinks he's the best, higher than everybody else, which is wrong. But then they start to treat you a different way and talk about you in their own language and things like that. Or, you know what I mean? Just are cold and not welcoming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that is also frustrating, and you have to, it's part of being a pro. It's sad to say that, like, you kind of have to like ignore that because it shouldn't happen, period. But it's you have to kind of ignore that and to continue on to be a pro, right? And so being away, it's there's a lot that goes with it. You know what I mean? Because you're missing a lot of family things, like family events that's going on, birthdays, holidays, you know, things like that. And if you keep a close eye to it, it can really destroy you a little bit, because now you're like, man, I'm missing home. I can't do this. But so you got to have a strong mental and to be able to keep yourself occupied with and understand that this is a sacrifice for a common goal of you providing for your family and then providing a better future, you know what I mean, for your family as well. And in my case, having a young one, knowing that it's not about you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, now it doesn't matter. Sometimes you might not want to get up for that practice, but you got to understand it's not for you. You know what I mean? If you're going to sacrifice being away from her, then I think you should fully commit to your job and to being a pro and understanding what you sacrifice for, and that it's worth it. So I feel like that's just something that if you're going to be involved in this field, that you have to look yourself in the mirror and be honest and ask yourself if you really think that you can handle this, and just know what the end goal is.
Absolutely. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes, your dreams are not as big as, you know, your family's dreams, or, you know, your dreams are bigger than yourself, you know, and you might have to sacrifice for the betterment of your family and your family structure. And obviously you've been doing a great job. What, you know, you have great leadership in that aspect, and, you know, having, you know, younger brothers that are, you know, doing well and business ventures of that kind as well. So, you know, I've been in communications with you throughout the past couple months, and, you know, you've been an avid guy that's been, you know, advocating for change and, you know, community development as well as business ventures. So let's talk a little bit about your brand, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like I came up with this brand called Unlock Souls. It was it came about actually like you know, the beginning of my professional career. You know, being over the waters, you have so much time on your hand. You know what I mean? And for me, it started not physically but more mentally. I think, you know, just having that time on your hands, and then sometimes it takes a toll on you mentally. You know what I mean? And some things could have effects on your performance. You know what I mean? Just because you might be in your head too much, or just overthinking about a lot of things. And I feel like with me, that was a big issue for me. I just overthink everything so much. You know what I mean? Just as far as playing, just putting so much pressure on myself, because we do that, right? Mm-hmm. We put in as much work as we do, so we put that pressure on ourselves because we want to be great. You know what I mean? We want to see our work manifest on the floor. So we put that pressure, and sometimes, you know, we just have to tell ourselves to relax. You know, take a breath and just enjoy the moment, just be in the present moment. You know what I mean? So I think for me, that's how it kind of started, and with more of playing. You know what I mean? Like just understanding and noticing that one way when you play in an official game, you kind of play a little bit differently, whether it's open gym or something. Like, for instance, shooting the ball. Yeah. Right? So when you play with your friends, or you're practicing, and you have that confidence and you're making shots, but then when you get into the game, you may miss a shot now. So now it's hindering you for shooting even more. Now you're in your head, instead of understanding the work that you put in, like day in and day out, and you've made these shots countless amount of times. Yeah. So instead of saying like, I'm gonna make the next shot, now you're just thinking more, I can't miss this shot. You know what I mean? You're just thinking, I can't miss this shot. If I miss this shot, now he's just gonna leave me open, and it's gonna be it's just gonna be a worse breakdown for the rest of the team, right? So you get in your own head and you hinder yourself from the beginning. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how it started. But I would say like the definition of it would be like, it stands for just being like 100%, the 100% authentic version of yourself. You know what I mean? Without feeling like you have to mask or conceal like a certain feeling, you know, for like any area of yourself, for anybody, right? And basically like unlocking your soul is like freeing yourself from the constraints of your own mind. You know what I mean? Because we tend to be in our head so much that we tend to block our blessings. You know what I mean? And being in your head, you end it before you even start it, right? Yeah. So, you know, it's just being able to have that confidence in yourself, and just being able to be comfortable in any situation, whether it's a pressured situation, or like the game or something is heightened. You know what I mean? Just being able to be comfortable and knowing that, you know, you have that confidence to thrive through.
That's deep, man. I think it's really important to hone in on, you know, the work that you put in any field. They say repetition is the father of learning. So let's say you put in, you know, 10,000 hours into the gym, and then, you know, you're second guessing taking an open shot. You know, sometimes it's, you know, going through those reference points where you're like, damn, I put this work in. Right. So, you know, you can hit that shot. Right. You know, so I can definitely adhere to that, man, because I feel like in basketball, you make one turnover, right, and you're on yourself. Right.
And then for me, that was a big thing for me growing up, is I was so like on like emotion and on edge, where because I instilled so much, like, I don't know, so much belief and faith in myself just from the hard work, is like I turned the ball over and I let it affect me the rest of the game. I had a big problem with like my body language and just letting things affect me. And then I just remember, like, I remember my mom always used to be like, continue on next play, and then Also, Coach Paul Weir, that was a big thing. He was like, man, you got to understand that people see your body language first, right? And even though it has nothing to do with anybody else, and I'm mad at myself, but it's how you move on. You know what I mean? You got to be in the present moment. You can't dwell on the past. That's gone. So you can only get it back, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like everything of all those experiences correlated with the brand and how I came up with everything. And it, for me, I know I got the merch and everything coming out with it, but that's just because I enjoy, dressing up and the clothes side of it. And I feel like I could put drip together. So I just feel like, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And so that's how that part came about. But it started with me with the mental side of it. You know what I mean? And having those mental thoughts about shooting the ball and things like that and performance. And then furthermore, when I got hurt in 2018, after my second professional season, I had a knee injury, which knocked me out for a whole year. It was like I had cartilage damage here. I had like quarter-sized cartilage missing. So I had to get the surgery. I had microfracture surgery, and so I was out for the whole year. So, when you have an injury, for those that haven't had one, when you have like a serious injury like that, and you go from playing and doing well, and the next thing you know, the doctor tells you you're out for the year. You know what I mean? And now a whole bunch of things starts to resonate in your mind. You start to think about, now the financial part, you're not getting paid for a year, right?
Yeah.
And so that's like taking care of you and your family, right? And then the surgery in itself, you might not the type of surgery that I had in the injury is like, you may not come back the same way as how you were before, right? Which for me, a big part of my game was athleticism, right? So you start to think about all that kind of stuff, and it starts to like torture you in your mind, right? And I just remember it came a point in time where I was just like, I was in a dark place. I just wanted to get away from everything social media, like, you know what I mean? Because now you start to see everybody signing here, playing there, and it's like, you're happy for everybody, but you can't enjoy the same thing, and you're just seeing. And because you're hurt, all you have is your phone, and you're just on it, and it's negatively affecting you, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, I'm gonna get off of it. Got off of everything, then started watching, like, trying to educate myself on like cryptocurrency, like eating better. You know what I mean? I started figuring out you got to eat better for your body. Certain things to cut out, and started incorporating other things more. And I think that kind of helped me. That kind of helped me focus my energy elsewhere, along with when I was off of crutches, because I was on crutches for 2 months.
Okay.
And so while I was getting off of crutches and I was able to start doing things more, help motivate me. But I had those motivations as well. And I feel like that injury mentally helped me a lot. You know what I mean? Tapped me back into reading. I used to love reading growing up, but because I had to slow down and I couldn't do much, I had to focus on certain things. So now got back into reading, into writing, and I discovered like meditating, which is a big thing for me now. Meditating and just I read this book. It's called The Mindful Athlete by George Mumford. It's like amazing book. And it just talked about, basically I felt like what he was talking about was everything I was going through. You know what I mean? Just trying to be in the moment, in the present, and not dwelling on the past, and then incorporating meditation and how it can be healthy for you and help you moving forward, and just like mentally compartmentalizing everything, right? So I got into all that stuff, and like mentally and spiritually, it helped me, and helped me in all aspects of my life, I felt like.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you say that, because I feel like I can relate to you on the 100th degree, because during COVID, obviously, that was my time where I was like, every day I was going, doing different things, but then I was like, still, like, and I used that time for myself to, like you said, stop ignoring the red flags, like reading, getting back into your way of living, eating better, making yourself, take in different things in the world that's going on. You know what I mean? And I feel like in our society sometimes we're always on the go, that sometimes we ignore some of the things that make the biggest difference. So,
Right.
you know, I think COVID gave me that same experience that you had, where I can, you know, just tap into different books and, you know, look at different authors and, you know, get into, you know, film writing and things like that. So, you know, it's crazy that, you know, sometimes in life we have to go through, you know, those big moments that allow us to see the bigger picture. So it's all about perspective, you know,
Right.
because I feel like, you know, had you not got that injury, you know, who says, you know, you would have been on this great path with your brand and,
Right.
you know,
Right.
reading and tapping into a different way of living.
Right, and I agree because I always love to say that that injury, you know, obviously you never want to get injured or anything, but it helped me a lot. Like that year when I got hurt, then I found out I was having my daughter, right? So, and I was able to be there. Usually I'll be on the road, but I was able to be there for that year. So like that helped me in that aspect, and then, excuse me, and then also it kind of slowed me down. You know what I mean? Because I felt like right after college, I was just playing basketball nonstop. You know what I mean? Like nonstop. Because once you get out of college now, you're back home. Because usually I would have stayed at school for the summertime, but now I'm back home. So now I'm excited to play in all the tournaments back home. You know what I mean? I want to be involved in everything. So coming straight from there, I played the whole summer into going to Germany. Then I played that summer after the season in Germany and China.
Yeah, you did the double. Yeah,
I did the
remember
double.
that. Yeah.
I did the double, and then I played like for like a month or two there, and then I came back home, and that was my best summer. Like I feel like in the city in the summer.
Yeah.
And I came back, played that whole summer into going to Finland, right? And that year in Finland, we played in 2 different leagues. We played in like the domestic league, and then we played in the first year Champions League.
Okay.
So we played a lot of games, a lot of traveling, and so you know, over there sometimes you don't have the right recovery and everything that you need. So you're just playing, going, and you're still young. So you do what you do, but it's not fully what you need to do. Like as far as like sleeping as much,
Yeah.
drinking as much water, things like that. You know what I mean? And so I was just nonstop, and I think that like contributed to that injury. And but it helped me slow down, like as far as like playing wise and just thinking about my body when coming back home, and understanding rest is key. And then it helped me obviously mentally and spiritually as well.
Man, that's dope, man. So, damn, it seems like, you know, you're a vet in the game of basketball, man. You know, so obviously now going into, is it your 8th year?
No, it's 6.
Your 6th season. You know, what are things that you kind of instill for the younger generation of, you know, athletes that are now entering their first season overseas or professionally? What are some words of wisdom you can give to the young athletes of this generation?
First and foremost is to just whenever you know where you're going, just to make sure you lock in and focus and not to waste any time. You know what I mean? You go over there, you're going over there to perform to the best of your abilities, and, you know, trying to get another contract the next year of trying to get paid more and moving up the ladder. That's what it's about. And you got to understand it's a business. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how friendly the coaches or the staff may be initially when they want you to get there, you got to understand, of course, that's just a ploy for you to get there and to make everything seem good. But when you get there, it's not always peaches and creams, right? You got to focus in and never get comfortable. That's a big thing. Like, no matter what, you know, you're playing well for, you know what I mean, a couple games, a couple weeks, months, you're playing well, but never stay comfortable because, you know, in this world and in this field, it's like, what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And it's like, no matter what you did for like the club or your school, the moment you have sort of like a cold spell, it's like it's the next man up. And they just forget about everything that you put in, like the work that you put in and everything that you've done. So just keep focused, stay locked in, and understand it's a business. And yeah, I would say that's like the biggest part. Oh, and to take care of your body. You You know what I mean? At a very early age, take care of your body, because I learned the hard way. So now whenever I see the younger guys, I try to tell them to take care of their body and stretch, roll out, the recovery, the pre and then the recovery is very key. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what I would stress like the most.
Yeah, dope, man. Dope. A lot of you young viewers out there, there's some gems from, the OG himself. So, obviously growing up in Scarborough, you're at a point now where you can send that ladder back down and give back to the next generation. So what are some ways that you influence or inspire the youth of tomorrow in the community?
I think it's about just being able to teach them every opportunity. Like if I could go somewhere and play or watch the kid play, and I could see something that I could help him with, is giving him that words of wisdom. You know what I mean? Trying to help him dodge some of the obstacles that maybe I ran through. You know what I mean? And just kind of like, it's our job to kind of like tell them and to kind of warn them about and guide them, you know what I mean, in a certain way, so they can avoid certain things that we went through. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of, when we were growing up, people tell you things like, save your money or make sure you focus on school or whatnot, but they don't really take the time to teach you and show you what they really mean. So if we can get down and be in the field with them and grind with them at the same time and show them the difference of, doing this from doing that, then I feel like they will really understand. Because I feel like the youth now especially, they listen more when they know that you've been through some of the same things that they've been through. Like when they can see it for themselves and they can touch you and see, then I feel like it's that's where that respect comes from and where they where we get their attention. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rather than just maybe telling them something and they're like, it's just another old head telling me that whatever. But if they could see you doing it, and you could show them some of the mistakes and then show them how you came back from that mistake, then that's when it's like the belief comes in and they feel like, I could do this and I understand what he's saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you get that respect too. It's like that stamps like, okay, he's official. Mm-hmm. I didn't see the work that he put in. I didn't see his life take off and, the steps that he took to get here. And he came from a similar place, because I think that's really important. Because like we said, when we were coming up, a guy like you or like Coombs or Marvell, those are the guys that we're looking up to in our respective community. We're like, damn, they're doing this here. That's where we want to get to. Right. So like I said, it's very important as an older guy or an OG to really, be there and be present. You know what I mean? Don't just, show up once a year, granted how busy you are, but try to keep that connection, with the youth and help encourage them in any way you can support them. I think that goes a long way, man, And like checking in on them too. You know what I mean? Like, just every couple of weeks or whatever, just trying to check in on them just to make sure they're good. Because sometimes we don't think that it means a lot. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're probably like, oh, we're just kind of bothering them or just like checking in on them. But like to some people, it really means a lot for them. You know what I mean? Like I know when I got OGs that's checking in, and that's, making sure I'm doing what I'm doing or staying on me and telling me, I'm proud of you for doing this or doing that. I feel like that makes you feel good inside. You know what I mean? That makes you feel like you're doing something right, and somebody's also seeing your vision and wants the best for you genuinely. Yeah, and it's crazy because we didn't grow up around that. Like when you're in an environment where everybody looks at you as like competition, it's hard for people to uplift them, and I think that's a big thing in our community, the Black community. It's hard for us to congratulate each other, uplift our brothers, and I feel like we look at everybody as competition every time. But, I feel it starts with guys like us that are, going to break that cycle and, congratulate or, give people their flowers when they deserve it. You know what I mean? I'm very big of, uplifting people and not trying to tear people down, whatever it is that you're doing. If it's music, if it's clothing, if it's sports, if
if it's even, you know, you being passionate about something, going to school for something like that, like that's big coming where we come from. You know, we don't get to the degrees. We go to funerals, you know?
Right.
So it's like to see guys really commit and lock in and just start something from the ground up and just keep building. That's success in itself. So I feel like it's very important that we continue to, you know, like you said, man, give people their flowers and uplift people, man. You know what I mean? For yourself, like I said, you're an OG, but you're somebody that, you know, I always admired from afar, you know, being an athlete, but just being a staple header in our community and showing guys like us that, you know, we can keep that dream alive.
Yeah, and that's something that I wanted to make sure that, you know I tell you all the time, but I want to tell you right here and right now that, you know, I'm super proud of you. And I just want to give you your flowers now because you've always been, you know, that positive light in the community no matter where you go. You know what I mean? If you go here to go play ball, go here to play ball. But I always see you uplifting everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter in the heat of the battle, somebody's getting down on themselves, and I see you're the first guy to like, yo, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, next play, keep going. So, like, you know what I mean? It's just guys like you that are doing this in the community, you know, you're just one of those guys that's involved in as a staple, and we need more guys like you in the community that's congratulating our brothers and our sisters, you know what I mean? And understanding that, yeah, we're competing, but we also want to uplift each other. And if we can come together and do it, because we're stronger together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we want to be as strong as we want to be a strong unit. You know what I mean? It's not all about, oh, look what I can do over here, look what I can do. It's about, look what we can do
together.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's also another thing. I gotta give it up to Twee as well.
Absolutely.
Because he's a OG, and we've seen him play. We've seen him on both sides, right? We've seen him in the field playing, competing, and then we've seen him on the other side, on this side right here, and he's giving guys like us the confidence to be like, yo, we seen him. He was nice. We seen him kill, you know, and compete. And then now we see him on this side right here, and he's doing amazing things. And he's just showing that, you know, us as brothers, we can jump into these barriers and get into these fields and still be successful.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Twee one time, man.
Shout out the guy.
You know, with the life after basketball, you know, something he got going on where he's showing a lot of these athletes, you know, different sides and getting into different business ventures of those sorts. So shout out Twee Nora, man. It's love from afar, but you're always one guy that, you know, you're always here. So we just want to send you love from the podcast and culture conversation, bro. Love. And
always.
And yeah, man. So, you know, usually I end my last, you know, question on, you know, your words of wisdom to the youth or your message to the youth. So I'm going to give you this time to, you know, just say or send your message out to the youth.
I mean, like I said before, like for all the youth, you know, I just advise you guys to, whatever it is, it's not only sports, whatever you're into, is to lock in. You know what I mean? And focus on what you really are trying to accomplish. And if it means shelving yourself away from some people and, you know, being in your space and really focusing in, and, you know, you got to get away from some people for a little bit, then so be it. But if those guys are really your friends that understand, and then when you come out with your vision and what you've been working on, then it'll all manifest and pay off. So say lock in, focus up, and you know, just make sure, keep your mental strong as well. Try to incorporate some meditation to help, and you know, read a lot of books, and that's the biggest message I would say.
For sure, you heard it from none other than Daniel Mullings, man. Just quick, I'm gonna let these guys know, the audience, where they can find you online, your Instagram handle, and just different ways they can stay connected to you from afar.
Yeah, you could follow me at Ricky Hendricks on Instagram. Also, my brand page as well, Unlock Souls _ and look for a lot more content coming out. Starting to build it up, and it's a lot of big things ahead. So stay tuned.
Absolutely, as well as a big shout out to Noir for setting this up, and Life After Basketball. Stay tuned. Content coming soon, as well as we are checking out from episode 4 of A Culture Conversation. I'm your host, none other than Twin GQ. All right. See y'all next week. Peace.
Sir.